Hi there, this is Josh from Literary Gladiators, and today I'm here to try something new. For the very first time, I'm going to engage in a random activity that will help me determine what I read next. This is the game that you may know as TBR dice. Some people do a Monopoly board. Some people do a spinning of the wheel. There's a few, even Dominica also engages in a randomizer as far as determining what she plans to read next is concerned. But I thought that I would dip into this now that a great portion of the reading for Season 14's discussions of Literary Gladiators is complete. I'm going to do a TBR dice activity that was inspired by Lauren Ann from Rosy Cheeks Reads. And she actually got a set which had the notepad of she had a little notepad where she could put down her 20 works, and came with a polyhedral die which has 20 sides, so you just had to roll one die to determine which of the 20 works you would go over. And so I was not able to get a hold of it. Lauren Ann is from UK. They did not have a formidable option in the US, so I decided I would just buy some polyhedral dies. I got 10 of them, but I'm only going to use one of them at a time. And I used one of my notebooks. I own a lot of them. And I put together a list of 20 books that I would like to read, based off of topics that I would like to explore at the current moment. I'm going to roll the die, and I'm going to pick 2 of them. But the 20 books that I have, I'm not going to show you, and I'm not really going to explain them until the very end of the video when we decide which ones are going to be discussed. But I will leave down below the names of each of them as I recite them. The 20 books that I have listed include number 1, The Bald Soprano and Other Plays by Eugene Ionesco. Number 2, Rhinoceros and Other Plays by Eugene Ionesco. Number 3, Bully of Asia by Stephen W. Mosher. Number 4, Inside the Mind of Xi Jinping by Francois Bourgeon. Number 5, First Friends by Gary Ginsberg. Number 6, Very Cold People by Sarah Manguzo. Number 7, The Long War by David Loyne. Number 8, The Eternal Audience of One by Remy Ngamli. Number 9, The Wide Window, Book 3 of a Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket. Number 10, A Cheesemonger's History of the British Isles by Ned Palmer. Number 11, New Kid by Jerry Craft. Number 12, Making Our Democracy Work by Stephen Breyer. Number 13, Clarence Thomas, a biography by Andrew Peyton Thomas. Number 14, The Sand Pebbles by Richard McKenna. Number 15, Tales of the South Pacific by James A. Michener. Number 16, The Eyes of Darkness by Dean Koontz. Number 17, The Quiet American by Graham Greene. Number 18, The Glass Menagerie by Tennessee Williams. Number 19, Squid by Martin Wallen. And number 20, Chocolate by Sarah Moss and Alexander Badenoch. Already, here comes the time where we are going to roll the die. This is pretty exciting because I've been thinking about this idea for quite some time. We're going to use orange today. And The way that this is going to work is I'm going to roll the die twice. The first number that I roll, I'm going to read the corresponding book that goes with that number first. And the second number that I roll, I will be reading the corresponding book second. So here we go. Already the first one is number 10. And number 16. So I rolled numbers 10 and 16 on the polyhedral die, and the books that corresponded with those numbers are A Cheesemonger's History of the British Isles and The Eyes of Darkness, both of which are books that I'm really eager to pick up and read. And the first one that I will be reading, according to the TBR die of Libra season 2021, is A Cheesemonger's History of the British Isles, written by cheesemonger Ned Palmer. I think that this was the higher being knowing that now is the time to engage in a sense of escapism in with regard to cheese history. I wanted to get back into reading about cheese, be it the different kinds of cheese, the history of cheese, and I got this one as a booktube recommendation and really thought about picking this up and reading it on my own leisure, and it just so happens that this is the first number that I roll with the TBR die, and I will get to this. This is going to be my next read, and I am quite eager and excited. And it's just so funny that I went to Delicious Orchards this past Wednesday, and I picked up a Stilton and Gloucester cheese. I got one of each, and it just so happens that now I can put together, I can give them a taste, maybe take a photo. That may be the thumbnail that I use for the book review when I complete this book, because Stilton, in my mind, is it's my favorite blue cheese. And I have not tried Gloucester yet, but I'm eager to do so. And when you put the two of them together, you get Huntsman cheese, which is a very unique piece. And The Eyes of Darkness by Dean Koontz is a work of horror having to do with a mother grieving over the death of her young son, but when she sees something suspicious and then sees the scroll of "not dead" on a chalkboard, she begins to have second thoughts and starts a search looking for him, which I came across this quite some time ago, and the only other Dean Koontz book that I've read as of recent is Your Heart Belongs to Me. This is I have higher hope for this one. This is one of his older works. He wrote this under the name Lee Nichols. And it did pop up recently in current events, this particular book, The Eyes of Darkness, because they made mention to a laboratory in Wuhan in the year 2020, which there's a lot of parallels. But whether or not I'll have to find out in what way the two are connected, because I remember reading The House of Thunder, and it does take a major turning point, and I wasn't fond of that turning point. Hopefully, the one here is a little bit better. But there you have it. The next two books on my TBR are Cheesemonger's History of the British Isles and The Eyes of Darkness, a book about cheese and a work of horror fiction. Two things that I really enjoy, and I think it's perfect timing because it's something that I can escape with. I'm not going to use TBR dice every time that I'm looking to determine my TBR. There are other ways that I'm going to decide what I want to read, and but every so often I may explore the option of determining what I want to read with the help of a TBR dice, because it's something fun and random, and I think that it adds some spice to my reading activity. And in addition to those two books, I am going to be rereading Skipping Stones in the Dark, because I'm planning to do an individual video about that in 2022. I'm going to be preparing some content because I am planning to release more individual videos at the turn of the year. A lot of what and when I plan to review things was very contingent on what it was. If it was an advanced review copy, which some of them were on that list, I wanted to review them so that it ran somewhat parallel and close to the release of the book. And then new releases, the same thing. If the wide window was my choice, I was going to wait until after our discussion of The Reptile Room was released. But there's a lot of good content coming up, and I'm just excited to immerse myself in these two books, and you will definitely get a review of both of them, regardless of what I think about them. Thank you for tuning into this video. I hope you check out some more videos from our channel, and if you really like what you see, I highly encourage you to support us on Patreon. Thank you, and for now, keep reading.